The wrestling world's burning, y'all. We might be in trouble. What is going on? We are Wrestling Maniacs Worldwide. Today, I'm the host, Ben, 1/3 of the We Are Wrestling podcast. Today, we got a stressful extra, and before we get into what all that is, if you guys are not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet and are not a part of the thousands of subscribers watching worldwide, be sure to hit the subscribe button now, turn on those post bell notifications. Videos be coming out of nowhere like an RKO, and you already know the grind is real. So before we get into this fine abundance of topics for an extra, I just want to let you guys and remind you that Don is on his break at the moment, so he will not be doing any kind of content for the We Are Wrestling channel or any of his content for that matter. He's taking a little bit of time to get the good old slice of real life outside of the screen, and my God, he definitely deserves it with all he does to carry his personal content in this channel itself. So he'll be back by the end of April. So now on to other things. So yeah, the wrestling world is burning lately. The biggest, there's a couple things, right now with one, Vince is back, like full-fledged back. I mean, we already know that it's basically already being inked into a deal to be sold to Endeavor, which is basically, the home of UFC. And we knew that remnants of Vince were obviously being scattered across our television screens and in the product that we knew, because obviously, come on, man, it's 2023. Things are way too good to be true. So obviously we speculated, Vince was abundantly putting his hands in the cookie jar, so to speak, when it came to the product and everything like that. We started to see remnants of it. None of us wanted to believe it, especially with how great everything's been in the Triple H era, with how great things started with the returns that we got. The interesting storylines were starting to get juicy again. The booking was starting to be great. I mean, obviously no booking is perfect, but Triple H was really running with it. We really got the show going again. We started to feel life in the WWE atmosphere, and the morale was starting to really turn, and people that weren't getting opportunities whatsoever were starting to get more screen time. They were starting to get more opportunities. We starting to see some other people getting pushes. We've started to see the return of stables again. Certain words were starting to return. And here we are, not even a year later after Vince gets, before he steps down, so to speak, we're starting to shift back into square one. That being with the first big hint that Vince was dipping his hands into the cookie jar of creative again was Omos versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. What kind of fucking booking is that? That was definitely not Triple H's doing. We fucking know that it wasn't Triple H's doing. So now fast forward, obviously the arguably bullshit finish from WrestleMania 39, and again, arguably it could be taken with a grain of salt. A lot of people are stoked about the finish, and good for them. However, myself and a lot of other people that I can speak for are not. Now, with Vince taking over, we're in for some shit, man. With how it's feeling, like, I get it. Roman's hot right now. They want Roman to push 1,000 days, which is where we're very much so heading. We're getting there, but it doesn't mean everybody wants it. It doesn't mean it's still relevant. I mean, I guess relevant isn't really a good term, but it's not really the new thing. We've been on the streak for 3 years at this point almost, and yeah, dominant champions, what so have you, whatever, but I'm going to address the elephant in the room. Roman Reigns has little to no personality other than just being this bad guy shit talker. Like, realistically, there's no charisma there. I think it's just the bloodline, They have definitely carried the story. Without the bloodline, Roman would be nothing, hence why there is a fucking bloodline. But again, that's up for debate. Fast forward to Raw. I only saw bits and pieces. and from what I heard, things got really interesting, obviously, before the show aired, but also well into the show currently being live. Now, apparently, Vince McMahon ripped up 3 scripts and rewrote them, and also rewrote them while Raw was well on air. And apparently, there was also a very huge shift in morale in the locker room, and very, obviously, rightfully so. These superstars have been given a ray of hope, with Vince being gone and being able to have some kind of creative say, somewhere, and to really be able to show who they are, and to have that ripped away from you by one person who is completely fucking out of touch in this goddamn business. I don't care what you say. This dude is absolutely senile and should not be booking anything. I could go off right now, but I'm not gonna. But again, I'm a huge supporter of WWE and everything that they do. I try to always give them the benefit of the doubt because I'm a WWE day one. I'll say arguably I'm a mark, and I get that gets thrown around quite a bit on this channel, and Danny absolutely, and Donnie actually, both love to rub that shit, out in the open. But it's kind of true, I really do try to support them where I can, but at this point, enough is enough, because it's getting shoved to the point where it's not enjoyable and it's just fucking frustrating. I get business, whatever, I get numbers, whatever, but at the end of the day, that can only go so far. I get it's long-term storytelling, like a lot of people are probably going to bring up. That's cool, but we've fucking seen this before, man. I don't want to see another retelling all over again for the 1,000th fucking time, it feels like. I don't feel like watching the same show over and over and over and over and over with just different fucking people. It's just not enjoyable. I'm trying to be as cool about the situation as I possibly can and put my feelings aside, but at the same time, it's very hard because I am such a huge fan. But now with this shift of morale, there's a lot of people that I'm afraid are going to leave. There's, for example, Drew McIntyre's contract is expiring. They haven't reached a deal yet. And now with Vince being back, I don't fucking know if he's gonna. Arguably, I don't know if he's gonna. I don't know, people that we hoped were WWE bound. Again, to mention a name and a topic here, Switchblade Jay White from New Japan. For fucking ever, we thought Jay White was going to make his debut soon. Apparently not. Apparently not at all. Apparently he's not WWE bound currently, and there is no ringings of his name whatsoever at all during WrestleMania, and I'm not even sure if there's any ringings in general of his name throughout headquarters or corporate or any of the higher-ups, I don't know. It's a really, really scarce situation that we found ourselves in, and WWE is going to be fucking hurting. They're going to be hurting, with their potential sale to Endeavor. I don't know how they're going to be able to fucking, honor all of these current existing contracts with WWE superstars. I don't know what their financials like, but from what I've heard through the grapevine, it ain't that great. So, I don't know how they plan to do all that. I think the sale's a big fucking mistake. I think Vince being back in anything that has to do with the show creatively is a fucking mistake, obviously, because it's going to be a shit show again. These superstars have put so much work in to bring dignity back into their show and into the sport, and it feels like with Vince coming back and just ripping up the scripts constantly and rewriting it, it's shitting on everything that they've worked so hard to achieve in the time he's been gone. And what really breaks my heart is I actually saw a segment of them going on commercial, and Seth Rollins' segment was being rewritten as he was in the fucking ring. And apparently, from what I heard, he threw the microphone dumb hard, just threw it the fuck down out of frustration, which honestly, can you blame the guy? He's literally in the ring, and he's got to memorize a whole new fucking thing now that he has to do and really come up with that at the top of his head. It's frustrating as fuck. And it's like, there was, I think like 4 matches the whole fucking night in a 3-hour show, and majority of it was talking, from what I heard. Like, that's nuts. Like, yeah, Riddle return, fucking awesome, great. But for a Raw after Mania, and then for Brock Lesnar to become a dominant force again and becoming the fucking eye of the main event shit is pissing me off, and I guarantee a lot of other fucking people off. I'm sick of seeing Brock Lesnar. Like, it was great seeing him in different storylines that didn't have to do with anything headline wise, like without being in the main event of any kind of big story. It was nice. And here we are reverting back. It's absolutely fucking unreal. And like I said, we're in big trouble. The wrestling world is a little shooketh, with a lot of things going on. I guess Melina was actually at SmackDown right before Mania, I think, or something like that. And apparently that was rough too, because apparently after she got back to the hotel, there was some kind of argument, then altercation with somebody. I don't know. But like I said, the wrestling world is absolutely in utter shambles at the moment, and it's on fire, especially in the terms of WWE. Vince coming back has really put a stain and a huge sour taste in the mouths of a lot of the talent. I can only imagine how a lot of the crew feels, with this potential sale going on. I can only imagine who's losing their jobs. And like I've said, on this channel multiple times, and, I'm not a fan of anybody losing their job. I'm not a fan of, people losing the love of the job that they do, even as a professional performer, as a professional athlete, professional wrestler. And, the fact that he's even stripping away fucking words is infantile, man. Like, there's just no dignity in WWE anymore, it feels like. I feel like we're losing that more and more whenever Vince is involved, and I just arguably, and this has been said by CM Punk. This has been said by others around the world that feel the same way. This is going to be a very hot take, and I'm probably going to get shit on for saying this, but I mean it in no malicious way. But I don't think WWE is going to fully capitalize and thrive until Vince is legitimately gone. I don't think it's going to thrive. I think the company will get better when he finally passes on, because Vince will die in his chair at this point, and he will fuck up his company and burn it to the goddamn ground for the sake of what he enjoys, not the fans, what he enjoys. And that is another example of, do we really want that? Do you enjoy this product? Is this something that is good shit to you? Because it's not to me, and it's not to a lot of others. And I feel like this weekend and all that hype, all that build up for Mania weekend, was half of it great? Yeah. The finish was ass. The Raw after Mania was ass. And I'm expecting SmackDown to be ass as well. So I don't know how I feel. We're in serious trouble. I'm sorry if I have rubbed some people the wrong way, but at the same time, I'm not sorry, because it's good to voice your opinion even if people disagree with it, because it would do no good for the company or anything involving, the community of wrestling if there wasn't any criticism, because how can we collectively talk about it to hopefully make it better? There's so much more that I can dive into, but, I'm going to leave it off here, guys. Let me know what you guys think about this whole, drama with Vince being back and, dipping his hand back into creative, ripping up scripts, pissing off people, destroying morale in his company in general. Just let me know what you guys think down in, the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed this, please hit that like button now, hit the subscribe button, turn on those post bell notifications. Like I said, the grind's always real. Thank you guys for sitting in on another extra for We Are Wrestling. Hopefully we'll see you guys again soon in the next one. It'll be me and Dan, I believe, for the podcast that'll be coming out, and I'll see you guys there.